Hello and welcome to the Quackcast Patreon video. This is video number 84. I'm Ozone Ocean and with me is Pit and Tance. Hi guys.
Hello.
This week we're talking about burnout, the idea of, well, it's not even an idea, it's basically being burnt out. It's different to having a block. I think it's related to having a block, like an artist block, whatever, but it's more to do with just what leads to having a block, in that you burn out. You become you're doing some kind of job for so long that you just get completely tired of it and can't do it anymore. You can't even approach the idea. You lose ideas, you lose inspiration, and you can't move ahead. What's that?
I said the flame is gone. You've burnt out.
Exactly. Yeah, the flame is gone. That's where the saying comes from. There's no more fuel to the fire anymore. And I suppose that can lead to blocks, but it's slightly different from a block, isn't it? It's you just run out of.
You could have passion for something
fuel.
And still get a block.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. But you've in burnout, you just run out of energy to keep on pursuing with this thing. You're just tired of it all. So how do you stop? Well, how do you get prevent? Because there's those two things, like preventing burnout, and then once you are burnt out, how do you fuel the flames again? Like for me, for preventing burnout is diversifying your attentions. So what I tend to do is I draw, but I also do costume stuff and, focus on different things because I've always got other creative pursuits to pursue. And that, means I'm not always hammering the same nerve and then, desensitizing myself, so to speak. And I remember when I used to be a healthcare admin and I used to have to call up nurses and things to do to work at old age care homes and stuff like that, you could burn people out because certain people would always take shifts no matter what. When you rang them up to do a shift, they'd always say yep, send me on a shift. And you realize that these people are extremely valuable because they will always do shifts that you ask them to do, but if you keep asking them to do shifts, you will burn them out and you won't have them anymore. See, what you've got to do is you've got to balance them, put them in reserve. You've got to say, okay, look, I won't call them up for a shift today. Maybe I'll only call them up for a really easy shift, or maybe I won't call them up today. I'll just call them up tomorrow, and that way you prevent burning them out. So you extend their use a bit more. So you can transfer that to your experience with creation in that you're not hammering the same nerve. You're not always forcing yourself to do the same thing. You're spreading the stuff out a bit more. Don't always use every single moment of your time to create. Give yourself a break for a while. Anyway, what do you guys say? I've sort of monopolized things enough.
Oh, I was waiting for Pit's face to talk.
I was waiting for you to talk. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Let's see. Burnout sucks.
It does indeed. Well, I mean, what would you guys think about taking a break every now and a while? I know, say, I get burnt out when I'm, I've got Bottomless Waitress, I've got Pinky TA, those two main comics I'm working on, and Pinky TA, I can work on the same page for literally 6 months, and that burns me out. And I think, oh my God, I can't work on this anymore, but it really does revitalize me when I work on Bottomless Waitress. So I'm diversifying my creative attentions there. I'm drawing something else for a while. And it's in a different style. Baines has written it, so I'm not always trying to translate my own story into my drawings. Someone else has written it, and they've written in a different way, so it's more interesting to translate their words to images. And I'm drawing mainly people as opposed to machines and things like that. So, I'm diversifying the kinds of things that I'm drawing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that helps me prevent burnout.
I think when I get burnout, what helps me is to kind of come up with like a carrot, like something to kind of dangle out here. And usually what that means is like, okay, I have this part of the story that I know is coming up. I'm just saying generally. Um, this kind of relates to some stuff with Blitzov right now. Um, but for instance, like I have some parts in the story that are coming up. I don't yet know how to go about them. And sometimes I start to get burnt out when I think about it. But if I could sit down and say, okay, hmm, what's something fun what's something that would be fun for me to do or fun to include or just a way to do it that makes me look forward to it again. Um, that helps just to kind of find that carrot, like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe if I get this far, I'll be able to draw this guy's naked butt. I'd love to do that. Or like, or maybe if I get this far, I could introduce this new big character that I'm excited about, and that gets me kind of going again. Or it's just to kind of find that carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do that a lot, um, because when there are certain scenes, for example, in without moonlight is long form, as long form as long form gets, I guess. And there are certain scenes that are either they are not very pleasant for me to draw or create, or they are very tough in certain ways. Especially, usually the toughness comes from the research. I don't want to research certain things. Um, I don't want to be exposed to certain things in order to make sure that everything is historically accurate enough and stuff. But what I tell myself is that okay, you do this, and then you get to reveal that, which is a fun thing. It's a nice thing, and it will bring
Okay.
everything back up. Or you get, and then you will get to introduce your character into that trait that they are going to develop very very soon, or this happy thing is going to happen if you get past this damn thing. So get on with it and
Yeah.
finish it. Um, this is how I do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about making web comics, I think, is especially if you're making a long term comic. And I'm just saying that from the perspective of somebody who's always making long term comics. I don't really do shorts, but um, is I think something that especially new comic creators should be prepared for going into comics is you will get burnout. It's not the
Mhm.
exception to the rule. It's not, you will get burnout and you will get it multiple times. That's
Yeah.
because creating a long form story is a relay race. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And that relay is knowing when to hand the baton off to something else, which we've all been actually, I think, describing in the different ways we do take care of when we hit burnout, whether you need a break or whether you need to find that spark again, that thing that makes you excited to do it. And it's probably a combination of both in a lot of cases. Just to step back, draw your breath in, have your mental cigarette, and just kind
Yeah.
of recalibrate where you're going.
Or there may be also something else, like when you have a long form web comic, or a graphic novel and stuff, um, that will span by definition many years to make and complete. Um, it's it's almost, I think I would say it's almost hubris to believe that you are going to be in the exact same mental state and headspace and have the same motivations to do what you started out to do, like for example 10 years ago. Like, uh, it's not going to happen. You develop as a person and you get also other interests, and sometimes if you force yourself to only do like the one long form web comic or whatever project that you have been doing, uh, when there are other things that are also getting your attention and clashing and vying for your time or your interest or your focus, and you try to suppress that, then that will burn you out because you will be investing too much energy into suppressing the stuff that you would like to also experiment with or dabble in or do
Yeah.
in order to keep working at your original project. And that might even create resentment, which is even more toxic than burnout itself. Uh, so sometimes it might be necessary to take a break, a complete break, and do your other project and do your other thing and do whatever in order, not, I don't want to say to get it out of your system, just to get it going itself, because it might be another long form thing. It might be another big project that you start or whatever.
Hmm.
And when you feel ready to regulate both, if ever, you go back to the other one as well. And then you have extra energy for both.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. They can both balance each other.
yeah.
You can stop yourself burning out on one with the other, and vice versa.
And one last thing, or maybe, oh no, maybe we'll say it in the audio. But yeah, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's been enough.
Yeah, we're at 12 minutes now, so let's go on to the actual Quackcast. Thank you very much for
Yes.
listening and being patrons.
Thank you. Mwah.
Amazing patrons.
These
Maybe
were
we'll
supposed
make
to be
this one.
docs.
What's that?
So these were supposed to be docs. I realized I just started doing them when you said Quackcast, and it wasn't translating in my mind what I was thinking. These were supposed to be docs.
Well, maybe we'll open this one up to all our patrons, not just our $5 and up patrons. So this will be the video for
Yeah.
all
So I imagine we're going
patrons.
to be saying a lot of this stuff
Yes,
again.
all
It's
patrons.
kind of
Thank
our
you.
main points. Thank you. I'll draw
Okay.
you a picture of the butt if you want.
All right. Bye bye, patrons.
Bye bye.
Bye.